All right, I should be ready to roll now. All right, here we go. Salute to NBA Nation on this Tuesday afternoon. Another edition of the NBA Report. CP the franchise in the building. Special guest returning to the show, friend of the program, man. He represents New York Post Podcast. He is our guy, Dexter Henry of New York Got Game and several other media properties and shows. On today's show, the OKC Thunder are just one game away from winning the NBA championship with a 120-109 fourth quarter smoke show of the Indiana Pacers, man. So let's talk about it. Hit us up on the NBA Report Discord. Salute to everybody watching on YouTube, Twitter, X, Facebook as well. All right, man, let's get into it. Dex, how you feeling, man?
Feeling good, man. It's just a little sad because basketball's about to be over.
It's almost over.
Yeah, it's that time where you're like, we have maybe one more game, maybe two. I'm hoping we get two. At this point, I'm hoping we get two. I know you and I picked Thunder in 6, but I hope we're wrong. I hope we get two more dope games, and it's been a good series, man. It's been a dope series.
Listen, man, I have enjoyed this series. And, even watching this game, and, shout out to Jalen Williams, J-Dub, 40 points, 14 and 25. He had his breakout game of the series that I've been looking for. SGA sensational on both ends. They got their bench production like we expected them to at home. But the Pacers are right there. The Pacers were right there with a 34-28 third quarter. Fourth quarter, they go in, and it was like a tale of two halves. Like, they took the first part of the fourth quarter. They're down by 2 points with 8 minutes left. And before you knew it, it was an OKC barrage. Within the next 4 minutes, the lead went from 2 by OKC to up 15. Absolutely incredible show there by the Oklahoma City Thunder, man. I thought it was a ferocious two-way effort.
Man, the defensive switch that we saw from OKC was crazy. Now, the Pacers did shoot themselves in the foot a little bit. Because some of the balls they turned over, they threw away 22 turnovers this one. Yeah. We saw the Pacers do a Houdini act in the first game. They had 25 turnovers. They still win the game. It wasn't going to happen last night. And listen, you're right. The Pacers were right in it. They cut it to 2. I was watching at a spot in the city, and I was like, yo, are they going to come back here again and have the Thunder shut? Kudos to the Thunder. They responded. The defense stepped up. Like you said, kudos to J-Dub because he was big time. I think for that young man to have that kind of performance at where he is in his career on the biggest stage in a Game 5, huge for him. Huge for him in that Thunder franchise going forward. A 40-piece. He was relentless at the rim. I thought that was it. He didn't settle. That was a good thing about the Thunder last night. They didn't settle. They attacked the rim. You saw he was attacking. Cason Wallace was attacking. Everybody was attacking. And I thought they made a concerted effort with that. But if when I think of this Game 5, it's going to be that defensive switch in the fourth quarter. That's what I'll always think about. You think of the 40 from J-Dub, but the whole team with their defensive effort, CP. And that's why they're so damn good, man.
That's why they're so good, man.
God, the defense it's so amazing to watch, and they swarm you, and they're relentless. And the Pacers had nothing for it. And we'll get into it, I'm sure, especially with Halliburton, the way he looked. They had nothing for that at all.
Nothing at all, man. And as a matter of fact, in that fourth quarter, it was just so interesting, like how the game turned, because the Pacers had them on the brink. And the way the Pacers were kind of seizing that momentum, I said, oh, man. This looks like, the Pacers are going to take this one because they were stopping the clock. Siakam was cooking. It was. I thought his adjustment was big time where he only had one shot in Game 3, or Game 4, rather. He only had one shot in the fourth quarter in Game 4. In the fourth quarter in this game, he had 14 points on 5 of 5, 2 for 2 from downtown, 2 free throw attempts. So Siakam did everything he could to will his team to victory. You had Toppin, you had McConnell also going in earlier. That was more so in the third quarter. But, the Pacers were marching, man. But the 8 turnovers. 8 turnovers in the fourth quarter. Only 1 for the Oklahoma City Thunder. That's what did them in. Because they shot the ball well. They shot 66% from the field in the fourth. 60 from 3. but it was the turnovers that did him in.
Turnovers did him in. It was, so you said it was 8. I think it was 8 for the Thunder in the fourth, 1 for the, 8 for the Pacers in the fourth, 1 for the Thunder.
Yeah.
That means it was 14-10 in terms of turnovers. The Pacers having 14, the Thunder having 10 going into the fourth, and it being 22-11. You're not going to win a game where the team forces twice as many turnovers as you do. It's not going to happen. And that was it. They shot the ball well enough. And I think that's what they're going to, if they lose this series, they're really going to look at themselves and say, man, we shot ourselves in the foot with turnovers, because even though you stole game one, you were right in it and could have won this game with your best player hurt, not himself, had the worst game probably of his career in the biggest moment. You still were there. They got contributions from guys they needed to. McConnell was great. That third quarter,
he was great.
McConnell was great. In fact, I'll tell people, the place I was at, there was a Thunder fan in the establishment I was at. He was so mad when McConnell hit that runner that he had in the lane where two guys draped over him and he got fouled. He was so mad he almost threw his drink. He was that salty, man. Like, and I was like, yo, some guy next to me was like, I'm a Knicks fan. We know this, right? I'm like, yeah, I understand that. Look, he was great. You talked about the contributions from top. They got to help other places. Now, you could look at this game and say Nembhard didn't do what he had to do. He's only 3 of 8 from the field, 7 points. He was brutal. And then you look at Mathurin, who only had 7 points, 2 of 11. If those guys step up, yeah, but you can say all that if they shot better.
Right.
You can't give away possessions. Basketball is a game of winning possessions. Who wins more possessions is generally who's going to win. They gave away possessions, handed some of those away. Some of those, I would say 5 of those 8 turnovers were just sloppiness with the ball. And you can't have that in the key moment. OKC capitalized, and that's the difference in the game. I'm with you, CP. That was the difference, bro.
Yeah. And the thing is, with Halliburton injured and ineffective, I don't know how many shots. Did he even take a shot in this game? I got to go back and take a look.
Took one in the second half.
Took one, right? Mm-hmm. So he's clearly not himself. He was banged up and he was hurt. He tried to gut it out and clearly didn't have it. You had Nembhard turning the ball over left, right, and center. He had 4 turnovers in this one. I thought that this one was a big mistake. Rick Carlisle's been getting a lot of credit in this series. Big mistake was taking T.J. McConnell out. He takes him out with 10 minutes left in the fourth. You don't see him back until 3 minutes left for Nembhard. They're down 14. The game, well, with the Pacers, maybe not over, but you shot yourself in the foot. I thought they needed another capable, smarter, steadier ball handler out there. Usually Nembhard is I like how they can run offense through him, but it wasn't his night. Halliburton injured. Siakam was cooking. You should have had McConnell in there way earlier in this one.
I agree. I'll even go to the point of saying when they got it down 2, that was with what, 7 minutes, 6 minutes left?
8 minutes left. They got it down to 2.
8 minutes left. If you were trying to buy time and give McConnell a blow, because this is what I thought about, and I thought about this on my ride home last night. I said, what did Carlisle say about Tyrese Halliburton? And then he said, hey, he's not 100%. So if you knew that he was 100%, because I think us doing second guessing, I mean everyone, is easy. But if you knew he was not 100%, and I understand that normally during games you're going to ride with your guy. He's your top gun. He's your best passer. He's your best facilitator of the offense. But he doesn't have it. You can see the lack of aggressiveness through the third quarter. And you saw the game change when McConnell was in. You saw that. So you have that evidence. You want to steal some more rest from McConnell at the beginning of the fourth. But once they had it down, you got to roll with McConnell there. And you could see McConnell on the bench. They kept showing him he's dying to get in.
Yeah.
They're not putting him in. I mean, Halliburton just didn't have it. I think I thought in the middle of the game, I said, oh, he's hurt. Because he wasn't penetrating. He wasn't putting any pressure on the defense. And listen, when you have whether it's a hamstring, calf, whatever, you can't stop and start the way you like to. And you could see it with him. He was timid. I don't think he was scared in the moment. I saw people saying that. I don't think that's Halliburton's hit enough big shots that we know that's not the case. I just think he wasn't 100%. I'm shocked at this with Carlisle, if I'm being honest, CP. Because Rick Carlisle's a coach that you and we've lauded him for his adjustments. And seeing in game what's going on, I understand we didn't ride your guy, but you had to see what we all could see. He didn't have it. And not because he didn't have it and he's your guy, because he was compromised. I'm he said it after the game. He was
Yeah,
compromised. So once you see that, McConnell was great, and McConnell was fantastic.
he was great, man.
Eight
He
of
was great.
14. He had 4 assists. He had 2 steals. But
Tricky.
look, am I saying that that's why the Pacers would they have won the game? No, maybe they wouldn't have. Maybe they still wouldn't have been able to overcome J Dub's 40 piece. Maybe they wouldn't have been able to overcome, which is to me the crazy number in this game. The Thunder had 27 blocks and steals.
Insane, bro.
It's
Insane.
crazy,
Yeah.
right? Like it's insane. Hard to win a game like that. Maybe they wouldn't have been able to overcome it, but I don't think you really gave yourself a chance when you didn't have the requisite guys who could run the offense and then put pressure on the defense in terms of penetration. And Nemhard, who you're right, I do like him as a guy who can create his own shot, but I don't think he's a guy you want running your offense in that way. And that's where they missed McConnell, and Halliburton didn't have it. And hopefully Halliburton's ready for Thursday, because if they don't have him pushing the pace and running the show, I think it's tough for them.
Gotta be, man. Salute to everybody in the chat once again. Hit the like button, hit the share button, subscribe to the channel. Todd Packer, we see you in the chat. Shout out to Creative Lou, J Rose 712, Zach out in LA. Salute to you guys, man. Salute to everybody watching. Dev, Eric L. Beats, we see you in here. It's interesting in that, game 3.
Mm-hmm.
In that game 3 win with Indiana, they got to their strengths. They made it a track meet, and they won that game. Game 5 now with the Thunder, one of their keys is turning you over. And that fourth quarter was indicative of that, because they scored 32 points off of those turnovers. Off of those basic turnovers. 32 points. That was incredible. Give them credit. So, just their defense was absolutely ferocious. And then J-Dub, man, the 40-point man, excellent game, man. A super efficient game. It's the most efficient game that he shot in this series. Shoots 56% from the field, 60 from 3. And this was a soundbite from J-Dub after the game on his performance. Here's Jalen Williams.
Chet had talked about how important it was to give you your flowers, and Shai also had a similar sentiment when asked about your game. A lot of it has been made about this team chemistry and how important it is to you guys. How does that team chemistry empower you to be great, and how did that help out tonight?
Yeah, like I said, I'm just blessed to be in a situation where everybody wants everybody to succeed. It's such a rare thing. I think it's even more rare that we're playing like the Pacers, who just looking on the outside are kind of that way too. Like, you see how close-knit they are. But yeah, I'm just in a really, really good situation. It's allowed me to grow as a player at a more rapid rate, because I'm not worried about, like, what if I fail? I have guys that I know are going to pick me up when I fall short, and I try and do the same thing for them. So I think our team chemistry has got us here. It's something that's kept us strong, and yeah, it's just a fortunate situation that I get to be in.
All right, that was Jalen Williams, man, the number 12 pick of the NBA draft in 2022. And since he's been drafted with this team, he kind of just burst out onto the scene. I remember doing draft shows back during that time, and I'm asking these draft prognosticators, like, this kid looks really good. Like, how is he only the 12th? I mean, 12th is not a low pick. So I'm like, pick, right. This guy looks kind of top 5-y out here when he was getting buckets with Santa Clara. So, no surprise there to see what he's doing with the Thunder. But I thought a testament to him, and he gives a lot of credit to his teammates and the chemistry and all that. All that being said, I did like the fact that even throughout this series, even when he's having bad games, he's still getting to the free throw line. He only had 4 in game 1, but game 2 he had 9 on 5 of 14 shooting. Didn't shoot the ball well. Only 19 points. He gets to the free throw line 9 times. 11 in game 4. 11 in game 5. 11 in game 4, 12 now in game 5, 11 in game 3. So shout out to him, because it speaks to his aggressiveness. And even when his shot's not falling, he still has that sense of urgency, which with a lot of young players don't really have.
Yeah, you can see a lot of young players revert to tossing up jumpers. He has not done that. He's been consistent with that. And see, that's something to me that tells you about the mindset of the team and coaching. I think you look at that and you're impressed with him. I even think Chet Holmgren, who has not shot the ball well early throughout the series, pretty much, But I thought last night, even some stuff, I saw pump fakes from him trying to attack and get inside. He did make some of his easier bunny shots that he should have on rebounds when he got inside. So I like that from him, even though he shot 4 for 15. You might look at that game, but I thought he did a solid job on the glass with 11 boards, 6 defensive, 5 offensive. That was the key. Chet Holmgren was huge. You're not going to look at the game. 9 points, 11 boards, 3 blocks. That doesn't jump out to you like that, but I thought he was huge. I just think the mindset of the team to keep attacking, I thought was so huge in this game, and you can see how it permeates. Look, however you feel about SGA and foul grifting, however you may feel is what it is. He gets to the line.
Yeah.
Having another guy like J-Dub who can get to the line, that's how you become a true secondary scorer, CP, that you can be trusted on in the playoffs. Can you? It's not the buckets. He had fantastic finishes last night, but also getting to the line and getting some of those free points. He's been great. You're right. It's a difference maker for him in this series, and I think he's grown up big time through these playoffs. I thought these playoffs were huge for him, and he has answered the call in several big games. Several. This is not the first. This is the third. He's really answered the call in throughout these playoff run, and he's been good, man. He's been real good.
I mean, you look at the numbers with this team in so many different ways that they can carve you up. We talk about the free throws, the number of free throw attempts they had last night, 32. They shoot 81% from the charity stripe. They shoot 43% from 3. They had between Dort, Wiggins, Case and Wallace, they win 10 of 17. 10 of 17 from downtown, those 3 guys alone. Plus you get J-Dub's 3 of 5. How about Shai's defense? 4 blocks, 2 steals. You know, the defensive side sticks out because you know he could walk into the offense. The 31 and 10 was nothing, but defensively he was a big part of that fourth quarter barrage that OKC put on him. I mean, he had a 1 block and 2 steals in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. Listen, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is a very good defensive player. He is, which is crazy. He's probably the worst defensive player in the starting 5. That doesn't mean he's bad.
Right.
He's just the worst among a bunch of great people, of which he really is a part of. And he had 4 blocks and 3 steals. That is insane, which is maybe more impressive than his 31 points on his 9 of 21 shooting and 13 of 14 from the line, which we know he does. But it's insane how good of a two-way player he is, and we're talking about the worst guy, not the weakest, the worst guy in their starting lineup, and he comes up with that kind of performance. And then, obviously, you said the 2 steals, in the block in the fourth quarter. I mean, it's crazy because it's hard to attack that team because when they recover, and that's why they can swarm. They would swarm and recover so well. They jump into the passing lanes. His steals were really predicated on that. That first one in the fourth quarter, him jumping into the passing lane. What do you do with OKC, man?
What can he do?
Like, I'm thinking about it from just an opposing coach's standpoint. Now, I think the Pacers have shown you something, and that you can keep pressuring their transition defense, which they've done through this series, which is interesting, but how long can you do it, and how sustainable is that? It's almost like you bet more on OKC's defense to do what they did last night and show up in a big moment and just flip that switch and turn it on than maybe you do Indiana's offense. But, man, that defense is good, bro.
Very good. Very good, man. Last thing for you, man. The Halliburton superstar, not a superstar. Every game. Have we seen a player? I don't even know if it was this bad with Jalen Brunson. Because he has showed up in so many games. But every game, when he's on, he's a superstar. When he's not a superstar. What do you make of that conversation as being a backdrop to the finals, man?
I think the conversation is ridiculous, and it's also a little bit reductive to how good Tyrese Halliburton is, right? I do not think Tyrese Halliburton is a superstar. And I am very, very judicious with my use of superstar.
Yeah.
You're right. There are not that many. I do think he's a star.
Yeah.
Right. I know Stephen A likes to say superstar is box office, but I do agree with that to some degree. And by box office means if you're on the road, do you fill seats? Are people coming to see you play? There's not that many dudes that do that. Mm-hmm. If he's not a superstar, and this is the thing I think that's getting lost in the conversation, CP, just because he's not a superstar doesn't mean he's not a really good player or he's not a star or an all-star really good. the thing about the Pacers is they have a good collection of two-way players.
Right.
So do the Thunder. Now, I do think the Thunder have a guy that is right there at the superstar precipice, especially with this series in SGA. But they have a lot of other really good two-way players, and who cares if he's a superstar or not? The Pacers are a good team. They have a lot of good two-way players. They earned being here, and they beat good teams to be here. And I think they're going to be a problem for a while. And I think people need to understand. I think people are used to being like, you have to have a superstar to win the title. And I think you don't. I think you at least have to have a star in a collection of other really good two-way players nowadays. So I think the Pacers are the closest thing we've ever seen to like the 2004 Pistons.
I agree.
In that way. And the Thunder, to some degree, are not that far off in construction. It's not like they have multiple they had two All-Stars this year, right? But it's not like they have multiple, MVP candidates or top 20 players. They've got one. Jalen Williams, as we're talking about, might be coming to his own. A lot of y'all might be talking about him differently next year. But look, Pascal Siakam's a really good player, man.
Yeah.
Tyrese Halliburton, to me, is a star. I think he's a guy who'll be a multiple-time All-Star. I think he's a fine player. I think he's a brilliant passer. And it's probably his best skill. He can beat you with the pass so well. I don't know why everything has to be an either or for people, and then to determine the greatness of a team
in one game,
right, from game to game. And here's the other thing, CP. Why does everybody else have to prove something from game to game? It's just so funny you bring up Jalen Brunson, and obviously people will know you roll with Knicks Fan TV and what you do covering the Knicks. But Jalen Brunson, you're right, went through that same scrutiny because everybody wants to doubt what they've seen. Tyrese Halliburton has hit enough big shots just from this playoff run alone, and has had the moxie, I don't care how you feel about him, to show you, if you don't want to call him a superstar, you call him a primetime player, okay?
Yeah.
He's that. I'll trust him to step up. I don't think he didn't step up last night. Like I said, I think he was compromised. The guy's got stones. He likes the big moments. I think a lot of people would like him on his team. That's all I'm saying. A lot of people would like Tyrese Halliburton on his team. He's a gifted passer. I think there are ways to dominate basketball without it always being a 40-piece, always having to score 40 points. And Tyrese Halliburton's one of those dudes who I think could give you 20 points, 15 assists, and still dominate a game. There's many different ways it looks. I just think people haven't seen it look like Tyrese Halliburton before. So they're like, oh, he's not a superstar.
Yeah. Well, it's just like anything else. We like to put everything in the microwave and expect those instant results. For me, with Jalen Brunson, to me, he's earned that respect over time because I agree, Stephen A. Yes, certain respects, it's about people coming to see you being box office. But also, to me, it's your ability to beat even the best defenses. And I think Jalen Brunson has proven that time and time again. He's done that in this playoff run, even though, hey, the Indiana Game 6, Nebhard shut him down. Let's just be real. In this series, the OKC Thunder are winning that matchup. Lou Dort is winning that matchup against Tyrese Halliburton. And even injured or not, superstar players figure out a way to get it done. He had no points last night. Zero.
So to that point, I agree. See, what I love about that is you're giving context and nuance to this, right? And I do think there's context and nuance towards being between a superstar and a star. And yes, part of it is the box office part, but part of it is what you mentioned as well, too, right? And we've seen some of the great players of all time, the superstars, figure out a way to get it done. No matter I don't care who you root for. I think one of the greatest basketball performances I've ever seen in my life was Michael Jordan in the flu game. That's somebody figured out how to get it done. He was drained. He didn't have it. I grew up hating the Bulls, but that is one of the
figured it out.
Best. He figured it out, right? I've seen Jalen Brunson injured and figuring it out.
Yes,
I've seen him tough it out. We've seen Kobe Bryant do this. We've seen LeBron do it. We've seen Steph do it. We saw Kevin Durant come out and score 12 points on a bad hamstring and then tear his Achilles, right? And just he didn't get it done. We've seen the great Willis Reed. We didn't see it, but we know the great Willis Reed with the Knicks to inspire and do that. I'm not saying you always have to be hurt. And I'm not killing Halliburton I don't think you were either, CP, just to be clear, for his performance last night. Because I'm going to be real. I have not played with a, compromised hamstring or whatever.
Yeah.
Some people do have that in them and some don't. That's not me shading Tyrese Halliburton because I'm not doing that, just so people understand. But I do like what you said. Superstars figure a way to get it done in the clutch against the best defenses. despite their physical limitations that you might add with someone like a Jalen Brunson, right? I don't want to take it off of Halliburton, but I think Jalen Brunson has not still gotten his due because a lot of people say, "Oh, he's too small." I'm like, what more do you need to see?
What more
I've
do you
seen
need
this
to
guy
see?
do it against the best defenses. I think we could actually argue he might be the best leading small guard we have seen in this league probably since Allen Iverson. Some people may want to put Isaiah Thomas with the Celtics and what
Yeah.
he did, but I've seen Jalen Brunson do more and do longer. There's a very small group of guys who've done that. Isaiah Thomas, Allen Iverson, and I'm putting Jalen Brunson in that class. Halliburton is special. I still think, can he be a superstar? Sure. Sure, because I think he has a Steve Nash-like ability to his game
Right.
to be able to dominate the game in different ways. But maybe he's got to learn from this moment, CP, and to the viewers. He's got to learn and be like, all right, if I don't have this, how can I still impact the game? Or sometimes it might have been like, look, man, I ain't got it. My calf is bugging me. I need to sit out and let McConnell run the show. Because that's leadership too. Sometimes leadership is knowing that you don't have it to let others come up on the team and do what they got to do. So I'm with you. I like the point you made. I think there's nuance in that, right? Like you being a superstar is getting it done in the clutch. It's not just selling out because why does anybody want to see if they don't think you get it done in the clutch? You
Yeah.
can't just be exciting. Like that's not it. It's not just being exciting or dropping 40 points. Like I don't say a lot of people, but there are people who could do that, but it's empty calories numbers. So the time will tell. Also, he doesn't have to be a superstar right now.
Right.
Doesn't have to be.
Hey, but this is the biggest stage. This is the NBA Finals, and if
Hey.
he ain't a superstar to Thursday, they might be going to Cancun. Direct flight from Indianapolis. Direct
Well,
flight
see,
straight to
I
Cancun.
like that you said that, but let me say that. Let's say this.
Oh,
CP.
hang on. This is breaking news from ESPN.
Oh,
Speaking of which, breaking news.
what we got?
Suffered a strained right calf and will undergo an MRI to determine the severity. According to Shams, Tyrese Halliburton strained right calf and will undergo an MRI. He's finished, bro. He's finished.
Yeah, once you're telling me that you're gonna look at the MRI with 2 days,
There's no way.
that means they think it's bad enough.
Calf, it's bad. It's bad, bro.
I think. Well, let me ask you this: do you think he tries to give it a go? You don't want to look. I just mentioned KD.
I don't
You don't
know,
wanna play with that.
man. Like because you factor in swelling, like inflammation, travel.
Traveling on the plane.
Adrenaline is
Yeah.
worn off. I'm not sure. He was very wincy, man, on that thing. I don't know. I don't know. But not a good sign at all.
It's not a good sign for them. You also wonder if playing on it more didn't help. You know, I'm not saying it definitively would have done it, but maybe the best thing would have been him to go get out the game, go back, start treatment now before the flight, and he get back to Naptown. And I don't know, because once you're telling me they're looking at the MRI to determine severity, and it's today. So let's say the MRI, I'm sure it could get done in the next couple of hours. Let's say it's more than a grade 1, low grade strain.
Mm-hmm.
Generally speaking, this is just me watching. I've seen this happen with the Mets recently in some coverage of 2 players have had this. That at least has you on the injury list for 2 weeks. So to your point, CP, that would sound like you are not playing.
I
on Thursday.
think he's done, man.
Season's
I
done.
don't think they risk it. But hey, anything's possible. I think the fact that it's news and he's getting an MRI is in bad shape.
I agree. I agree. I just think for all of us watching sports, as long as we have, it's not a good sign. Now, look, this is shame. It's a shame, man, because the guys had a great postseason run up till last night, and you would have liked to have seen how he could bounce back. This is what we love about sports. We're talking about all this, but I'd love to see if he could bounce back and be a superstar.
Yeah.
Have a superstar-like performance in Game 6. That would have been dope to see, but it looks like we probably will not see that.
Yeah, that's it, man. Zach in LA says Halliburton plays if it's a grade 1. Anything higher, he is out.
Even a grade 1 is tricky, man.
Yeah. Calves are different than hamstrings. It's a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
Todd Parker, strained calf can lead to a torn Achilles.
Yes, that's what I was and that's the point I was making with KD. That's where it's tricky, man. You get into that lower part of your leg, and I've torn my Achilles. I had a partial tear. And you so happen with KD, it's hard to stop and cut and put the pressure. And I think that's where you have to think, if you're the Pacers, about the long-term health of your player, your star player. And you got to think about that. And yeah, even with a grade 1, I think what you're going to see, I'm sure there's more people smarter than me, doctors smarter than me who'll say this, that are going to be like, look, rest is the best thing here. It's not going to get better by playing on it.
It ain't going to get better.
And you only have 2 days. 2 days is not a lot. If he didn't have to play for a week or something, then I could see. But 2 days? And we just had travel. You just were elevated. And the pressure, the cabin pressure. Yeah, that's...
Could be tricky. Could be tricky, man. What do you got going on the rest of the week?
Rest of the week, getting ready for Game 6. I'll be pulling up to a watch party for that on Thursday.
Okay.
Got some stuff cooking for God Game, looking deeper. Hopefully the Knicks announce a coach. we hope that. See what else is going on with that in the finals, and what's going on with the Liberty, see if they bounce back. They just had their first loss on Saturday. So yeah, that stuff going on with the week. Seeing how the Mets on my baseball show straight on Flushing, how they do against the Braves and Phillies this week. See about that.
There you go, man. Well, great show. Salute to everybody in the chat once again. Hit the like button, hit the share button, and subscribe to the channel. Hey, make sure you guys are checking us out, man. Make sure you check out Dexter. Salute to the replay gang. If you can't watch these videos live on YouTube or on video, you can always catch us on all major podcast platforms. So we'll see you guys Thursday. Will we have crowned the new champion? Or will Halliburton and the Pacers force a Game 7? I'm into this series, man. We'll have to wait and see. But thanks, everybody, for tuning in, man. We out of here. Peace.
Peace.